I'm recording. I decided we're going to start now.
What? Oh my gosh. I'm literally in the middle of sending a Snapchat.
Oh.
Okay.
I can
We're
restart
fine.
it if you really want.
No, it's fine. We're good.
Okay.
Hello, everyone,
Hi.
and welcome back to M&K Unscripted. Today, we are doing college and cake.
And it happens to be confetti cake that we're eating. We're celebrating some friends' birthdays, so we got to eat the cake.
Mm-hmm. It was
Man,
divine.
that was such a good cake.
Oh, for real. I'm like dreaming about it for real.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I'm glad that we got the extras. I'm very happy.
Yes.
What's your favorite kind of cake?
Okay, when I was a kid, I loved chocolate. Like, that was my thing. And now I feel like I'm such an adult right now because the idea of having like a triple chocolate cake kind of makes me feel ill. Like, I can't. Okay, that's a little dramatic, but I just prefer really not to have chocolate as much anymore. So I definitely choose like a marble or a vanilla, but probably vanilla.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like I like marble. That's my favorite. Buttercream frosting for sure. I do like whipped though. Like I won't complain. I love frosting. But yeah, do you like store-bought cake? Like for your birthday or for other people's birthdays? Do you prefer like a store-bought cake or do you like a homemade cake?
Okay, so I'm going to tell you a little fun fact. I don't actually know if
Ooh.
you know this. Maybe you do. Maybe you don't. I don't remember if I've ever told you this.
I'll tell you.
But for the longest time, every single birthday, my mom would bake. I don't remember what kind of cake it was, but all I remember is I always requested a marshmallow cake. And so she would like bake this cake, and I think it was probably vanilla or chocolate. She changed it every time. And then I would like decorate it with a whole bunch of marshmallows on top of it. And that was like the cake.
Aw.
And I don't know why, because like that's just so random. Like I don't even think that's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I just would always have like all these fun colored marshmallows on my cake. It's just like a homemade cake. And I haven't done that in so long. Like I can't remember the last birthday I had that for, but I just remember that was a thing for me.
That's a cute memory.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, we always had homemade cakes growing up. I feel like only since I've been older now that like we're more likely to get a store-bought cake.
Mm-hmm.
But also I feel like it's more of a treat.
Yeah.
Also, I think we're all a little more financially stable than we used to be when we were younger. So that might be part of it too, like why we had homemade cakes, but it just felt really special when I was younger. But like taste-wise, I'd rather have a store-bought cake.
Yeah,
that
that's
sounds
fair.
fantastic.
But there is something different about like somebody baking you a cake, you know?
Yeah.
Like even if it's not like up to the quality of, I don't even know what good cakes are, but like a store-bought cake, it's the thought that counts, you know?
Do you like ice cream cake? Like a Dairy Queen ice cream cake?
Yeah.
Okay.
I get that often for birthdays. I'll choose that because I really do like a ice cream cake.
Yeah.
Bad for the lactose intolerant people.
Yeah, that's a little riskier for the lactose intolerant people sitting here today, but I'll still eat it.
Yeah.
As I do with most dairy.
That's so true.
Yeah, for real. It's fine. Yeah.
Can you guys tell that our microphones are better?
I was just going to say that we're actually using microphones today that are working, so I really hope you're appreciating this audio quality. I'm trying to figure out how close I need to put it to my face.
Yeah, hopefully.
Because this is really close.
Oh.
And you can tell, and that's probably going to...
Okay, let's not mess too much around with the audio here.
That's true. We're not going to edit it,
Yeah,
so I'm sorry if that just like blew something out for you.
You're getting what you're getting.
Yeah.
Anyways, we should move on to college.
Let's talk about college. That'd be fun.
Yeah. So where should we start, Megan?
I don't know. Do you want to start at the beginning? Maybe
that's a very good place to start.
That is one of my favorite places to start at the beginning. If you shall.
Yeah. So we graduated college this past May. So we have
2024.
Yes, we've been out of college for 7 months now. So we kind of have had the experience of being in college for 4 years and then leaving, and now we're like reflecting on our 4 years and how maybe we've been changed and maybe we haven't been changed.
Yeah, I feel like it was a really long time ago. Like I remember thinking in college, like I never thought past May of 2024 because that was when I was going to graduate college, and I was like, oh, that's so long away. Like I don't need to think about that. And now I'm literally post-college looking back and I'm like, wow, that was definitely a time in my life. And like, I loved college so much, but it's just so strange how big of a deal it was in my brain, like when I was living in college versus just like being out in the real world.
Yeah. I want to take a moment to just talk about how much I loved college. Like, I uh I love school. I've always loved school, but like college were I don't want to say the best 4 years of my life because that makes it seem like nothing else is going to be as good. But I will say like those were some great years. And I will also say I look back fondly, but like also in the moment, I had so many crises. Like just like mental health, physical health, just like so many wild experiences that Megan was there for a lot of them that I'm like, wow, I really was like
That'd be entertaining. Will you share?
I
Will you share? I think you should share.
which one?
Um, the fainting and
Yes.
then the 911 and the for sure those two.
Okay. So these are some story times. We're really gonna go into
Love it.
Kelly's lovely, lovely history in college. So let's start with freshman year. So now some context about me freshman year. I was really going through it. Like it was COVID, so we started college 2020. So it was the height of COVID, which was just not a great experience to start college in. But I worked at one of the dining halls on campus and I was a student prep cook. And so I would get up like I think my shift started at 6:30 in the morning, which I just decided that was going to be a fantastic idea for me and I'm not really at all a morning person. So I went into work this one morning. I was just not feeling great. I think I didn't have a lot for breakfast. I think there were just things going on that I probably won't share on the podcast. But I was just not doing super well that morning and I was just feeling like not great. But like I was good enough that I was like going into work. I was just feeling kind of weak. And so I was in the middle of chopping up some baby potatoes, just slicing them, slicing and dicing. And I had this big knife in my hand, mind you. And all of a sudden, I start feeling really, really like shaky. And I feel like my brain is like not there, like not in my head. Like I start not being able to see. And I'm like, oh shoot, I should probably put down this big knife I have in my hand because like if I didn't know what was happening. Like I didn't know I was about to faint. So like I was like, I should put down this knife because I'm scared. So I start walking to the bathroom. And as I'm walking, my vision goes black. Like I can't see anything. And I fall face forward into the like ground, the floor of a kitchen and just am on the ground. And then I remember coming to and one of my coworkers comes running in and he's like, "Are you okay?" And like I couldn't even like pick myself up. I was just like laying on the floor, which was probably really kind of scary for him. And I was just like, I just remember shaking my head. And then he like goes into the office that's connected to the kitchen. He's like, "Call security." And then I swear, like I'm not even joking, like probably 5 people come around the corner and they're like, "Are you okay?"
Oh no.
And then I start crying because like that was scary. Like I've never fainted before. And so
Mhm.
they're like, "No, don't cry." And so then I just like sit in this office for like 30 minutes and then somebody ends up walking me back to my dorm. And then I text Megan and I've always remembered this conversation as me texting her I just fainted and her being like, "Man, that's kind of funny." But the other day I looked back at our messages and I have to give her credit and say that she did ask if I was okay first.
I did. And then when she told me she was fine, then I said, that's kind of funny. Which, to be fair, how long had we been friends? Was this in the fall?
This was in the spring. I think it was like January, February.
Okay, so we had known each other since September at that point.
Yeah.
So that's fair, but very Megan-esque
Yes.
to do that. But I'm glad I asked if you were okay.
So that was one time. That was one crisis. And
that
the
was fun.
security guy that came was like, he's important. He came and he didn't really know what to do. He just was like, "You good?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"No."
Our homie from the security.
Yeah. And so then, sophomore year, flash forward to that, I am ill. I'm just ill. Like, I don't know what was going on. I was just like, I didn't have COVID, but they didn't know that. Like, they were waiting for tests. So I was just in my dorm for like days straight. And at one point,
I think you had influenza.
I don't know if
Because you had a really bad fever and like I was staying at home because I didn't want to get sick from you because you were like really sick.
Yeah, I don't think it ever was confirmed what I had.
Okay.
But you remember it as influenza. I don't know what it
Okay,
was.
but you like felt trash, and Kelly like
Yeah.
never got sick when we were in college, and so this was
Hmm.
like a really big deal. And
Yeah.
like we lived in a dorm, and I lived close to home, so then I just stayed at home. I remember that.
Yeah.
So
So
anyway, I hadn't
anyways,
seen you in like 2 days at
hmm
this point.
so I had gone to the doctor and they kind of like gave me a list of things like if I start feeling like a certain way that I should like call them and be like I need help sort of thing. Otherwise, I was just going to kind of have to tough it out and I think I had to take some medicine. But anyways, I was lying on our futon by myself watching I think I was watching Vampire Diaries. And all of a sudden like I start like tingling. Like it starts in my hands and like I can't feel it's like when your hands fall asleep and like you can't it just feels weird and I started freaking out. And I'm like, mind you, I have a fever. I'm just feeling ill and my hands are tingling. And so I like stand up to go and get this sheet of like symptoms that they are like once you have these symptoms you should call them. So I stand up and like this futon is under Megan's bed because her bed was lofted. And I remember smacking my head on that bed as I'm trying to get up with my whole, at that point, my whole body started tingling. And so like everything was tingling. And I like get this paper, I'm smacking my head, I'm like trying to lay down. And then I like call the nurse and I'm like, I think something bad's happening. I need help. Like she probably was like, this girl is crazy. And then I was like, you know what? I need to call security because like I'm freaking out. Like I'm not feeling well and my whole body is tingling. And then I don't know why I didn't just call security. I think I was just scared. And so like
I think you were too. Yeah. So pick it up with Megan at this point. So this was, did you say this was sophomore year?
yeah.
Yeah. So I was in choir rehearsal because I was in choir my sophomore year. And I, like, in the middle of rehearsal, I get a phone call from Kelly. And mind you, like, Kelly's not a phone caller, like, especially like freshman and sophomore year. Like, she would never call anybody ever, even like her family. So she calls me and I was like, that's strange. Kelly never calls me. And so then I like didn't answer because I was in choir, like we were in the middle of rehearsal. And then she calls me immediately again. And I still don't answer, which maybe I probably should have picked up at that point. But I was like, I'm literally in rehearsal, like I can't leave. And then she texts me and she's like, emergency, I need help. And I was like, I was like, huh? So then I like get up and like leave and go in the hallway. Did I call you then? I think
Yeah,
I
you
did.
called me.
So then I called you and you were like, you probably were crying at that point,
Mhm.
and you were like short of breath and you were like, I can't breathe. And I was like, bro, what do you want me to do? I was like, huh? So then I was like, do you want me to call security? And she was like, yeah. So then, yeah.
So then Megan ends up calling security.
Yep.
And also when I was sending the emergency text, I like couldn't see. Like my vision started going black.
I'm laughing now because you're fine, but like that was
I was
terrible.
so scared. So she calls security, flash forward, security comes. It felt like forever. It probably wasn't that long.
Yeah, but I then at that point, like after I called security, then I left. Like I went back into choir. I gathered my backpack and all my things, and everybody around me was like, "What's wrong? Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I'm fine. It's fine." And so I like have to walk up to the like our director in the middle of rehearsal and be like, "I need to go." And then she's like, "Okay." And then like I leave, and then I like walk to our dorm, and by then the security guy was there.
Yeah, so it was just me crying, like tingling on the couch with this man.
And it's the same security dude as when you'd fainted the year before. Our homie.
So he's just there, and then Megan comes, and then he doesn't know what to do, and he's like, "Do you want me to call 911?" And I was like, "Yeah," because I didn't know what was happening.
Because you like couldn't breathe.
No,
at
I
that
couldn't
point.
breathe. And so then I think it was like one police officer that was like low-key kind of attractive. Megan started flirting up with this guy, and I was like, I'm over here dying on the couch, and she's just flirting with this hot police officer.
Just making conversation. Yep.
And then the rest, like, I swear, like a whole fire truck, like ambulance, like, there's probably like.
There was not a fire truck.
Okay.
There was an ambulance, though.
But there were like, I don't know how many men were in our room.
I don't think there was an ambulance.
Okay. How did they get there?
They would have had to call an ambulance, wouldn't they?
No, because it was like a whole. I think it was the fire team.
There was no fire truck. It was not that intense. But okay, there probably was some type of emergency.
There was like an emergency vehicle. I would guess an ambulance.
And yeah, there was probably a good 8 people
just like 8 like men.
In our dorm room.
I remember vividly there was like this young guy that I think was taking notes, and I was like, wow, this must be really good content for you right now because I'm just unwell. And so they like prick my finger. Megan ends up calling my brother, and then
I didn't
he
call your dad?
no, because I told you to call my
Oh
brother.
yeah, because you were like, no, call my brother. So yeah, I called your older brother because you like you didn't
I
want your
didn't
dad
want
to
my
know?
dad to know. I don't know why.
So then yeah, I that oh my gosh, that's so funny.
And
And
then
then he ends up telling your dad.
and then my dad calls me, and I give the phone to Megan because I'm like not well. And
And
so
I'm
then my
like,
dad's
hey.
talking to this one of these men, and they're like, honestly, everything's fine. Like your vitals are fine. And then I remember some guy, he was like, have you ever had anxiety? Are you like diagnosed for anxiety? And I was like, no. But turns out, I'm looking back, that was definitely just like a major panic attack while I was ill and had a fever. And so, like, I was freaking out because of that. So, anyways, this is a long, long story.
That is, but man, the lore, that is so funny. So
So,
we still talk about that.
yeah. So, anyways, those were kind of those. That wasn't all the experiences of college, but like that makes it sound like we had really bad experiences.
No, those
but,
were
like,
just the two funny, memorable ones that we talk about.
yeah.
Sometimes I forget going back to the dining hall. Like I also worked at the dining hall freshman year, and like we both quit. We both quit on the same day at the same time, so we worked there for like a year and a half. But I like forgot about that. Were you wearing a cut glove
Yeah, I
when you?
was. I
Yeah.
took off my cut glove too. I remember
Oh.
because I was feeling like really, really warm. Like
Oh
I
yeah.
felt like hot flashes and like
Yeah. So we like for people that don't know, you have to like wear gloves when you're slicing in a kitchen. So if you accidentally like the knife slips and you cut your hand, it won't like slice your finger off. It'll just like
mhm.
cut you. It's like
Yeah,
a special glove. But anyway, yeah.
yeah. So those were some fun experiences during college. It really showed the community though, because like everyone was there for me when I was just like going through it. So those are like the most. Oh, those are just wild experiences that I
Yeah.
just like kind of don't think about anymore. But
That's crazy. I feel like freshman year and even the first part of sophomore year was just really rough in so many ways because of I feel like COVID was like the big major factor because
mhm,
like we had to wear masks all the way through halfway through sophomore year.
mhm,
Like the way that our classes were set up freshman year, we didn't have like classes that went the whole semester. We had like one class that we took for 3.5 weeks, and we had like 3 hour long classes every day so they could put it on Zoom. And that
mhm.
was just so horrible freshman year. It was so hard to make friends.
Yeah, I will say like Megan was like one of my only friends freshman
Yeah, like there was just no opportunities. Like there were no clubs, there were no extracurricular activities we could go to. Like even like going to mass, they like spread us out and everybody was wearing masks and nobody talked to each other. Like
year. Hmm.
classmates, you only became friends with people for like 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks, and then like you had a new class, so you didn't see those people anymore.
Yeah, it was really tough, but like junior and senior year made up for it by far.
Hmm.
Like even actually sophomore year was a pretty great year too, despite
Yeah.
some of the I don't know difficulty with making friends and stuff. But I feel like we made a lot more friends sophomore year because we could do clubs
Yeah.
and stuff.
Yeah, we joined this faith-based club on campus. It wasn't like through campus ministry on campus. It was like a different club that we did, and then we also were part of the college newspaper. And I feel like both of
Nice.
those things were like places where we met like bigger groups of people and we were able to
Hmm.
make friends.
Yeah, I will say like the ability to get involved in something that was like still working towards something like with the newspaper, like you're producing newspapers or like the um ministry we were in, like we were putting on these praise nights and everything. Like it was a great way to be really involved in the community, which is something that both Megan and I valued. We didn't want to go to college just for the academics. Like we really wanted that whole experience of um I don't know, like the thing about our college is a lot of it is trying to develop and like build you into a person that's ready in the real world. Like basically to shape you as like an entire person rather than just like academically. And so I felt like extracurriculars were really the way that we were able to do that.
Hmm.
Um and to get involved outside of just the classroom because I know like sometimes people go to college or like there's a decent amount of people that go to college just for the academics and the degree, but like yes, Meg and I both love like academics, but we also wanted more than just like a degree wanted to be different.
Yeah, I feel like one of the differentiating factors with our college was that we lived on campus all 4 years, which I know like even some of my high school friends had different experiences where like they'd live in the dorms freshman year and then they'd go find an apartment off campus in whatever city they were in. And then it really limits you in the people that you meet, especially if you like don't do other clubs and activities while you're doing
Hmm.
that. And so it's just like the people you met freshman year and then you like live with them off campus and you
Yeah.
never see anybody. And I feel like we really had the benefit of living on campus all the time. So then we could meet all the other people that were living on campus. And it very much was like a bubble in both a good way and a bad way.
Hmm.
But I'm saying it in a good way now, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I think looking back on it, like when I was in the moment, I was so glad I was in the bubble. But now that I'm outside of the bubble, I'm like, oh, there's so many great people that like I'm meeting now that have been in this area that I just never met because I was so involved on campus and like just didn't have time to do things out in the community. But like I'm really glad for the 4 years that I was there and like really got ingrained into um the community there because I've made so many good memories and so many good friends and like will go back to my college for like as long as I possibly can, basically, because that's the type of experience I had there. But I am glad that that wasn't forever and that now I can branch out and I'm not like tied to one place. And that I can like, I don't know, be involved in a wider community and meet new people and not just feel confined to the borders of college too.
Yeah, it's crazy how much I enjoyed the bubble when I was in it. Like, as close as I lived, like I did go home more than you, but like still like compared to like some people live at home when they go to college and I don't know, I didn't want to leave campus to go do anything. Like I didn't have any friends besides high school friends like that didn't go to the college I went to. Like we did all of our activities on campus. Like we all of our like weekend activities were always in the town that we were in. Like we never really went anywhere and did anything. We didn't even like go out to eat that much because we were like, well, we have the dining hall. And then we'd like
Yeah.
to save money. That was like our freshman and sophomore year for sure. But we just like didn't go many places besides college. And so it truly was a bubble in like all senses of that. And like I feel like I was really scared for that bubble to no longer be there after college because I was like, well, how am I going to meet people? How am I going to make friends? Like I'm just going to be lonely all the time. And that is so the opposite of true. Did I just say that right? Yeah. That's so not true right now because like I am just as busy like outside of college now than I was in college, but it's all like
Mhm.
fun things. And I'm meeting so many great people who won't leave after 4 years, which I kind of talked about in our friendship podcast. But like these people aren't just here for college, like they're here for long term, which is really cool.
Mhm. So we talked about like change in college and like you're being developed as like a whole person. So I want to ask like how has college changed you? Like how do you feel different than when you came into college?
Wow. That is a big question.
Yeah, take it wherever you want cuz like I don't even know how to answer
Yeah.
it.
The first thing I thought of was I want to talk about academics at some point, but I feel like I'm not going to go there yet because I just want to talk about like the friendships that I made, which I guess I don't want this to mesh too much into like our friendships podcast, but like I feel like I truly learned how to have real, genuine relationships with people because like even like you and I, like our friendship is just on such a different level than my high school friends because we live together. Like we've lived together our entire friendship. And that includes disagreements and fights and like crabby people and you can't just like leave and go home to your parents. Like this is like where we live now and we have a lot of responsibilities and like living with three people. So for 2 years we lived with there were four of us in the apartment and like there was just so much conflict resolution that is normal in relationships, but I didn't have those types of friendships in high school like because we didn't need to. Like we like would just go home and we wouldn't have to like deal with problems like that, I guess. Just like living together issues. I make it sound like it's bad, but like I just learned so much from that of like how to
Mhm.
have good conflict resolution and be able to listen to people and compromise. That I feel
Mhm.
like those are really, really good traits that I've learned for like my future relationships. And so I feel a lot of that I got a lot of value out of college because of that. I also think I've just like matured emotionally in the last like 4 years, which would naturally come, but I feel like I did it in a really good like environment that really valued academics, and I feel like that's really important to me, and like being able to like get outside my like I was raised in a small town, so like being able to get out of the small town bubble and just like learn a whole different part of humanity and society that like I didn't really learn about when I was younger because I was in like a small sheltered town.
Mhm.
So I feel like that really changed me, allowed me to like think more globally, um allowed me to like think more about like human rights and social justice and things that I just like wasn't exposed to when I was younger. So I feel like our college did a really good job of exposing me to things that I didn't know about before. And so I feel like I'm just like genuinely a more well balanced person now, where I have a lot of information from like both sides of any spectrum you want to do, like politically or spiritually or whatever. But I'm able to like make those decisions because I have all the knowledge I have.
Mhm.
Yeah, those are some big things. I also feel like I'm a better listener, but also I think that comes just from emotionally maturing and from having like real relationships with people. And also, I think our classes did a really good job about that. They wanted to, like Kelly talked about, like, I don't know, based on like my major and your major, like it wasn't me learning a specific skill set so I could go do that in the workforce. It was me learning more soft skills and how to like how to learn and like how to exist as like a professional in the world and how to exist as a human being in our society. And I feel like I got a really good exposure to like learning how to listen to people and how to like learn new things and how to have like tough conversations and disagree with people, and like those are skills that I think our college taught really really well.
Oh, I agree with so many things you just said.
So
And I
yeah.
also like it's so cool to like see how both of us have changed cuz like we went through college together. I feel like we like kind of grew up together in that way of like
That's so cute.
but I feel like if you think about like freshman Kelly and Megan, like we were just so different. Like not like it, in a bad way, just like we just have matured and seen the world differently and had so many conversations about like life, and I feel like it's been a really transformative time. And so
Mhm.
I feel like ugh, I agree with a lot of the things you said with me too, like emotionally maturing and like conflict resolution and all of those things. And I also think like just feeling empowered in who I am in like a way of like you leave your home a lot of the times when you go to college. Like you move in somewhere else, you meet a whole bunch of new people, like you have difficult classes and you have mentors like professors and people like that. And like I took a public speaking class, and if you know anything about me, I'm not usually the type of person that likes to be at the front of the room like talking in front of everyone, or I didn't used to be. And now like I don't often do that, but I know that I have the capability to do that. Like I know that I am capable of talking in large groups in front of people and like being able to write really well and like knowing who I am and like what I value and like especially um so we were very involved in this not campus ministry, what is it called? Like a ministry group.
Yeah.
Um and so like also spiritually like Catholicism I feel like was a very important topic throughout my college experience, and being able to like figure out what my faith meant to me like in a community like that was really incredible. Like I feel like I'm changed in a lot of ways because of having people that I could have conversations with about my faith. So I feel like that I've taken away a lot. But yeah, I just feel like I was also going to ask, but it could also just be a statement that like I'm curious of how much of me changing and developing into the person I am is because of college itself versus just like growing up.
Mhm.
But I mean, you'll never actually know the answer to this question, but I personally honestly think that college is the reason that I am the person that I am today. Like, yes, as you grow up, you're going to emotionally mature and you're going to get smarter and just have more knowledge in general. But I think like I have been changed so much by going to college and like meeting the people that I've met and learning about the issues, like you say, like social justice and like whether or not you agree with whatever the class is teaching. Like I've disagreed and agreed and like different aspects of conversations that I've had like throughout my college experience and in academics, but just having conversations with people that you might not agree with or you do agree with, like, I feel like has really intentionally helped me grow rather than just, I don't know, not going to college and like not having that experience. So, like, personally for me, college shaped me a lot. And like, I know like people have different paths and like sometimes college isn't in your path and like that's okay. But I think for me, I really needed that to like feel like I'm the person that I need to be. And so I think just reflecting on it like 7 months out, like I've learned so much even in the past 7 months of like not having school be like the center of everything because it's been that way since literally kindergarten. But that I don't even know. Like I've been shaped so much by college and I'm really recognizing it now looking back.
Yeah, I'm so curious. Like you said, I'll never be able to actually know, but like, what would I be like if I hadn't gone to not even just college, but like our specific college that we went to? Because I
Mm,
feel like there are just so many different types of colleges that you can choose. And like, I don't know, the college I chose is like different from like others in the area. And I'm like, what would it have been like if I like wouldn't have gone to college and would have just started working, or if I would have gone to this college and like even like I think about like my major, which that might be a good segue into like talking about the academic side of college. Like I switched my major. So I was an accounting major when I started college and I graduated as an English major. And that is very different from each other. And like sometimes I wonder like what would my life have been like or my college experience if I would have stayed an accounting major. And so I think that's just like super interesting. And I feel like one thing that I really, really value about my college experience was the way I jumped around, which is
mhm,
interesting because I feel like I would have had such a different experience if I would have started as an English major. And I'm so glad that I had the opportunity to like experience so many different areas of campus. Like I
mhm,
started as accounting and then I jumped over. I think I was English then, but then I was an education minor, so I was thinking about being a teacher. And then so I got to see like the whole education side of our college, and then realized I didn't want to be a teacher. And then I just like went to English, and then I had a theology minor also, but also like there were just I got to take so many classes from so many different areas. Like I took a nutrition class. I took like several communication classes and history classes, and I took theater classes. And like some of those classes literally changed my life, which is just like so cool to like be able to experience so many different sides of college and like different ways of thinking.
mhm. Yeah, I definitely echo that ability to take multiple different classes. Like I also jumped around a lot, started as econ and history, and then ended up taking philosophy and history, and then I ended up being a comm and history double major. So kind of, I mean, their history stayed the same throughout, but I also took like political science classes and like I was in the honors program, so we talked about um, they're like natural science courses that, I'm not a huge fan of science, but I had to take those classes and we took a theology class, actually multiple of them. Um, so that really helped because then it like made us interact with people that weren't in our major. Like
Mhm.
I've interacted with, I don't want to say every single major on campus because we have a lot of majors, but like a lot of different people.
I bet. Without actually knowing, I bet we have.
Yeah, maybe whether or not I knew, yeah, what you just said. But
Hmm.
so that is really great to have been able to talk with different people because like people just bring different perspectives. And I feel like if we were just like stuck on one path of, oh, I'm going to do accounting or econ and I'm just going to interact with just the people in my major, like that's great too in itself. But I think it's just really cool to hear from different people that have different ways of thinking as well. Um, Also, we are both academic weapons, which I just like to point that out.
Absolutely.
Academic validation is like the sixth love language. I'm not even joking. Like for real, sometimes I crave that and I kind of miss it. I'm like, man, if I were to just get an A right now, I would just like make my confidence just so much higher.
Yeah, like give me 100%. Let me see my Canvas grade like shoot up. That would be so great.
Literally.
Like just like turning in assignments and having them disappear from my to-do list on Canvas.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my gosh, I love that.
Yeah. We also, Megan, I just have a question. So, like, when you graduated, what was your GPA?
Oh, I was like, where are you going with this? I graduated egregious cum laude, which is a 4.0. Kelly, what was your GPA when you graduated college?
So, funnily enough, I actually also graduated with a 4.0.
Give me a high five.
Ah,
Yeah.
I hope you can get. Hope you guys can hear that. Yes. Anyways, so like, also, I feel like that really is a gateway conversation into the amount of stress that we felt going into college
For
and
sure.
like
Yeah.
feeling like we needed to maintain a GPA.
I had such high academic anxiety. And like we've talked about this before, but I don't know. I feel like for me, I never had the expectation that I need to graduate with a 4.0. Oh my gosh, like that was never the expectation for me. But I still had like such high academic anxiety because I didn't know the rigor that college classes were going to be, and I was like they're going to be so much harder than high school. Like I'm not sure how I'm going to survive. Also like accounting courses are difficult. Like they're really challenging. And I happen to just like be naturally gifted at accounting and numbers. So like I did well at them, but like still they were really hard and took a lot of work. And so then I feel like I was really nervous and I was like, what if my GPA is literally like a 2.5? And like coming from high school and having like much higher than a 2.5, I was like, I don't know. I was just like so anxious about any type of GPA that was lower than like perfect. And so I feel like I was always scared that I was going to like do really poorly. And it was only like at senior year where I was like, you know what? My GPA is going to be good enough now. And it literally was a 4.0. So like it jokes on me. But I was just like so scared about that. And I was such a perfectionist when it comes to academics that I put so much pressure on myself to like do well. And I think you did the same.
Yeah, definitely. It's weird though because I remember freshman year of college being like, man, I think high school was harder than this. Like I took a lot of like advanced placement like college level classes in high school, which granted that included like classes that maybe I wouldn't have taken in college because I wasn't as good at them or didn't like, such as I took like AP Chem in
Oh.
high school, and like I am not a science oriented person. Like I don't really care, and I don't think that's naturally what I'm good at, even though I still like did well in the classes. But like it took a lot of work to be successful in those classes. And so at some points I remember thinking freshman year that high school was harder. But I think like maybe not academically. Like I don't want to say that classes weren't hard because I definitely like stressed about them, but I think it was nice that at some points I just was like I just love learning. And like the classes were hard, but they weren't like I was just so passionate about them. It didn't even matter if I had to put in a lot of work. Like I was just so excited to like learn, which sounds really nerdy and but I don't know, like it felt more rewarding because I was taking the classes that I wanted to take, which not all the time. Like I had to take some required classes, but I had flexibility to not have to take a billion science classes when I didn't want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was nice.
Yeah. I feel like that's one of the reasons that I like helped me figure out I wanted to change my major because I hated accounting classes. Even though I
Mm.
was good at it, I was like, man, this just sounds horrible. And so I was meeting with like the college counseling, like career counseling people to like help me figure out what my major would be. And the lady asked me like, well, what classes sound like really, really fun that you would want to take? And I was like, well, English, like for sure. And so I was like, maybe that's a sign that I should be switching. Like,
Hmm.
who knows? And yeah, I ended up being like an English major with a creative writing concentration. So I literally just got to like write fiction stories for my capstone. Like that was so ideal. Like I was such meant to do that. Like it made me so
Hmm.
happy. And then I was like, oh wait, college can be fun if I'm like taking classes I enjoy.
Yeah.
It's just so funny.
And it's funny because like you should like for the longest time people have said that to me of like just take the classes you are interested in and like that'll end up working out for you. And I was always like, I don't know, but people always also want you to have a plan. And like I never really had that plan. Like I've never been the type of person that's like, oh, I want to be this when I grow up. Like I never really knew. And so like I was always skeptical of take the classes that you enjoy. But now looking back on it, like the communication classes, like that was the major that I really, really loved. Like history was a major I had, but it wasn't the one that I was like super, super excited about all the time. And like the media and like all of those things, like I've had multiple conversations post college about the media and like I can go back on those comm classes and be like, wow, I learned this in my comm class. Like, let me just tell you a little bit about this. And like, it is just so awesome to like be able to use what I've learned in college and like actually have an academic basis and like degree to be like, yeah, I kind of know what I'm talking about. And then like talk about it in my real life. And so it's just like really cool to, I don't know, like I get super excited about it. And then I'm like, that was the right decision for me. Like, I'm glad I did a major that actually makes me excited to talk about. And like, I have a job now that I'm like successful in. So it's like, I think it was really the right choice to choose a major that I was excited about because I still like am able to do well in terms of like career wise. So,
Yeah, I feel like sometimes people, if you don't have a college major that is like directly putting you into like a specific job, like nursing or teaching or accounting, then a lot of people are like, well, what are you going to do with that? Like, the amount of times that both Kelly and I have been asked, oh, are you going to teach? Like, when I tell them I'm an English major or that she's like a history major, I'm like, no, like, please let me like rip your hair out because like that makes me so mad because so many people ask, which like they don't know and they're just everybody means well, but like when I hear it like 20 times, I'm like, please just don't ask me again. That makes me so mad. But I feel like the classes that I took, like being an English major really allowed me a variety of classes. Like I said, I got to take classes in so many different areas. And like absolutely adored my creative writing classes and I can't believe that I got to actually like get a grade for those. It was just so much fun. And then I took um a comm class that was called Fat Studies and I will be talking extensively about that in a different podcast because like I am not exaggerating when I tell you the information in that class like changed my life and the way that I view like my self-image and my body. And oh my god, I could rant, but I'm going to wait because that is just makes me so happy. And then I took an acting class and that really like fueled my fire and passion for like wanting to get back involved in theater, which as you probably know, I like did a musical this summer. And I feel like if I wouldn't have taken that acting class, I wouldn't have felt like kind of prepared like for the audition. Like I hadn't done theater in so long and I was like, am I going to be any good at it again? Like I don't remember how to memorize things. And like the class, I just had such a blast. I was like, oh yeah, I can do this again. And so then that like re-sparked my passion for theater. And like I would not have had a chance to take those classes if I wouldn't have been willing to like look outside of the like what am I going to do for a job kind of picture, which is so valuable to me.
yeah, I feel like it just shows how much we value like, I don't know, like maybe intentionality or like following what our passions are
Mm-hmm.
and not just doing something just because that's what society says to do, which I feel like is a good thing to be able to, I don't know, just embrace what we want to do and be excited about something and not just like follow this path of like, oh, being a teacher, like stability to like when people, if people ever ask me like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I'm like, I don't know. And honestly, like as long as I'm setting myself up for success by like the skills I'm learning and like putting myself out there and like being intentional about not just staying static, like I think that's the mindset that I really want to adapt rather than like adopt, I mean, rather than just, I don't know, feeling like I need to plan out my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like that's something that college has really taught me of like continuing to challenge myself, but not feeling like I need to plan everything out because things are going to change anyways.
Let go and let God, am I right?
Amen, sister.
I also feel like we were like especially fortunate though that we went to a college that had such a big networking system. Like they
Mm-hmm.
prioritized, all right, we're going to get you out there and we're going to get you a job. And
Mm-hmm.
so I feel like even though we had majors that didn't like directly pipeline into a specific job, like there was still I never once doubted that I would get a job with the degree I had. And like I'm
Yeah.
working in like basically human resources now. And so I feel like you can go to college for human resources, but I feel like I'm equipped in so many soft skills that I feel like very prepared to learn. Like I have a good baseline for going into a job to learn things, I guess.
Yeah, which we've heard a lot. Maybe we're just hearing it because we were at the college, but that employers value that of like not necessarily knowing like yes, if you want to be a doctor or if you want to be a lawyer, there are certain degrees that you need to have in order to do that. But you also like employers are looking for people that are able to learn on the job and are able to like think creatively and are able to like bring ideas that are maybe different and not necessarily for that specific major, but just the degree in general to know that you've been shaped by a college experience. And so that, I don't know, that's exciting to hear as someone who didn't have a degree specifically targeted at a certain career path, but I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. You're looking at me like we've been talking for a long
No,
time.
we're at 45.
Okay. I feel like half of this podcast was me just talking about my medical issues.
That was quite funny though. I feel like that's a good college story.
Yeah, I feel like that just shows that the experience that we had wasn't just, I don't know, was like a wild experience.
A
like
life-changing
a
experience,
life-changing,
if you will,
awesome experience.
with our friend from the security office.
Oh,
I still
bestie.
see him sometimes on campus and I'm like, hey.
That's him.
How you
That's
doing?
what I also like. I think senior year he also showed up at my apartment one time. Maybe it was like the summer between junior and senior year because I lived on campus, and I think he showed up when our fire alarm wasn't working, and I was like, "Meh."
Oh. Hey, how
That's
you
my
doing?
yearly experience with you. I highly doubt that he remembers who I am, though.
Probably not. He does that every day for a living.
Yeah, he might recognize me, but I doubt that he's like, "Oh, that was the girl that fainted. That's embarrassing."
Yeah,
So, anyways, that's really exciting.
I doubt it. That's entertaining.
Yeah. Anything else? I mean, I feel like we could talk about so many different things, but
Yeah, there are so many different aspects to college. I feel like this was a good overview.
yeah. Long story short, great
love
4
college.
years, but our lives didn't end after graduation. Okay, that's something I'd like to say. The amount of times, like senior year, that I thought, man, what am I gonna do after college? Like my life is literally gonna be over because these past 4 years have been like amazing, and I don't know where my life is going. And now I'm 7 months out, and I'm like, okay, like life didn't end, and there are like so many exciting things in our 20s.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just the possibilities are endless. I no longer feel like I have to stay in this little bubble. So that's really positive, hopeful.
I feel like I want to acknowledge how much I didn't believe that though when I was in college. Like up till May, I was like,
Mhm.
well, okay, I guess until I had a job, which was earlier in the spring than May when I had like a job like lined up. But until then, I was like, I literally don't know what I'm going to do. Like, where am I going to make friends? All my friends are leaving. Like, I'm going to be so lonely. How can I afford to live by myself? Like, should I move back home? What am I going to do? My voice just keep me higher. Like, but I don't know. Like, then I like took a summer, took a breath, got a job. Like, Kelly and I moved into an apartment. And like, then we like started finding friends, which I know we've talked about before. But like, life goes on, but like it's really hard to see if you're like in the college bubble, like, oh my gosh. And some people really don't have that experience, and some people are like really, really ready to graduate college. Like I know some people like that, and I'm like, that's just so interesting that like you can be at college, even at like the same college, and have like such different college experiences like that.
Yeah. I remember like feeling so sad when, I don't know, like when people would be like, oh, I don't really love this college. Like, I can't wait to leave. And like, I just want to be in the workforce and I don't really want to be here. And it just always made me so sad because I was like, that is not the experience I have, which I get, like, education and learning isn't for everybody, but that's just always who I've been. And so, but it wasn't even necessarily about that. Like, some people just didn't like the environment of the college atmosphere. And I was like, oh, this is so tragic for you. Like, I wish you were having the experience I'm having, but
Yeah. And also now we're literally both working here. So
meh.
so we literally didn't leave, but
so we're just kind of silly goose.
Yeah.
Geese.
But just proof again that this was like a really special experience for us.
Mm-hmm. And I just love looking
continues to
back.
be.
Yeah. That's the fun thing is
Yeah.
yeah. Like I just want, I don't know, like one day might be bringing some babies back, you know? Be like, hey, this is where I went to college. Like,
That'd be so cute. Imagine going to football games, just being like, hey,
this is my child.
that's so cute.
That's
Or
so
like
cute.
reunions. You probably wouldn't bring
Yes.
your kids to reunion, but
No.
like, that'd be so cute.
I know.
I love
I'm
that.
excited. See, the college is the gift that keeps on giving.
Amen. That's a good place to stop.
Yeah.
Let's just end it there.
I think that's a great idea.
Okay. Thanks for listening.
Okay.
Love you all.
Love you.
Sweet dreams. Sleep tight.
Bye.